Alright, folks. This is going to seem ridiculous. But I'm running for president. 2016. And you might think, well, who is this jackass running for president sitting on his couch? Well, that's exactly the problem. That people like me don't get any consideration. People who are getting consideration are powerful people. They've gone to Harvard, they're lawyers, they're businessmen, they're people in positions of power. And they are going to, who do you think they're going to help? The average man or other people in positions of power? It is, they're not going to turn rank on their own folks. They worked hard, and some of them worked hard. Maybe some of them got lucky. The bottom line is they don't care about you and me. They say they care. But they only care about helping themselves and their rich friends. If you want to have a president that cares about the people, then you need to elect a president that represents the people. I represent the people. I have no money. And I don't value money as the end-all be-all, as most of the people that become elected do. I want enough to be able to live a, reasonably comfortable life, but I am not one for excess. I don't want a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. I don't want a mansion. I don't want a private jet. I don't need these things. I could see how they're convenient to people who have them, but this is not my priority. My priority is not to make money. My priority is to make the world a better place. This is what, a good candidate should look like. Somebody who actually cares. I believe I actually care. You may not believe me. But if I do become elected president in 2016, I can only make one campaign promise. And that is that there's a good chance that my life will be at risk. I will probably be assassinated if you elect me. And that's how you really know that I'll be a good president. Because the powerful people that are keeping the system the way it is, that are driving us to ruin, would want me dead if I was to succeed in getting all my initiatives through. And so first you have to acknowledge that we've got problems. I think most people see we have problems. The problems have only just started. The reason why we have problems is because the people who are in leadership are short-sighted. They're not thinking about the big picture, and they're mostly interested in protecting themselves. You should not be hiring people who have the power to advertise themselves on a larger scale than just a guy like me sitting here talking to you from a webcam. This is an example of somebody who doesn't have money. You're not going to see advertising blitzes for me. You're not going to see, $100,000 plate dinners for me. I'm one of you. I work an average job. I'm a freaking driver. Believe me, I don't really want to be president, but it's about time that the average everyday person like me runs for president. So, clearly the wealthy people are in control. You have to realize this, right? There's rules that make corporations essentially people, which allows them to spend their money however they want to support certain candidates. Do you want the corporations controlling everything? I believe at a certain point people have to realize, a lot of people blame government. Who controls government? Wealthy people. Wealthy people and corporations. You know why? Lobbyists will work for the corporations. You know why they control government? Because they have the money. Money is power. We need to call the bluff on the electoral system. We need to prove to people that it's not about who gets elected. It's about money. And the only way to really prove that is to elect some schlub like me to the highest office so that they can shoot me. And then it will be proven that it's all a bunch of BS. At which point, you may have no choice but to revolt. But at least at that point we'll start making progress towards something better. So I'm here to be the guy who gets killed. Now, I'm not a martyr, I don't think I'm Jesus Christ. I don't think I'm some, I don't know if it's going to make any difference in the end. I'll probably get shot. Nothing will happen. But at least I can say that I called the bluff of the people that are lying about the realities of the so-called most powerful position in the world. And it's definitely it's just a puppet spot for puppets to do the bidding of wealthy people. If you don't realize that by now, you're not really paying attention. You're just, clearly the people in control are the wealthy, and we need to do something about it. The average everyday person needs to rise up and take control. So here we go. Here's my platform. Now you might notice, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists. They're going to say, oh, you just got a liberal progressive platform. Well, you can think of it that way. Or you can think of it as everything I want to do opposes the large corporations that currently have control over everything and are driving us into the ditch. You should realize that we're being driven into a ditch. If you don't realize that, it's probably because you don't believe science, or you believe in crazy conspiracy theories that have no basis in fact or reality. I'm not saying I don't believe in religion. I'm an agnostic, I'll admit, but, I'm leaning towards being, I believe in the words of Jesus Christ. I don't know that much about the other religions, only because of ignorance, mostly. But I do not think that that anyone is excluded from being held in high regard by whatever God does exist. I think, people can be good no matter where they're from, no matter what they believe. I just like the words of Jesus Christ because they resonate with me, but there's a lot of words from a lot of religions that resonate with me, so I'm not trying to exclude anybody. But anyway, so, mostly what I do say is going to be anything that I believe in is a lot of it is based on science, because science tells us a lot about the world that we live in, and it gives us some provable outcomes. I think I don't have a problem with faith. Sometimes I think it's good to be faithful. I think it's good to be grateful for what we have. But I think it's also important to not just leave, or I think that, let me put it this way, I think that God expects people to think about the big picture and not just leave everything into his hands. I think he expects, its hands, whatever you want to say, if there is a God. I think he expects people to try to be stewards of the planet we've been given, like the Pope says. The Pope agrees with me on this, so all you Catholics, and there seems to be a major bit of amnesia, but with a lot of Christians, they seem to think that killing is right. They're paying a lot of money for the defense budget. When you say you want to pay for the defense budget, it means that we're funding weapons manufacturers that create weapons that kill people, and it says "Thou shalt not kill" in the Bible. So anyone who claims to be a Christian and supports a large defense budget is not really a Christian. You may think you're being a Christian. You may think that, it's defense. They call it defense. This is not just defense. This money pays to kill people around the world. So anyway, all right. Let's move on to my platform here. There's a big list of things. I'll try to make it somewhat concise. We're going to go after the bankers that screwed up the economy. None of this money settlement BS. Guys are going to go to jail. 10 years. We'll take care of those SOBs. All right? That's another thing. I'm going to be a little less, PC. I'm not going to talk like your average politician. I'm going to come straight out and say this. We're going to slice the defense budget at least by half, maybe more. The reality of the defense budget is a lot of it is about gaining access to natural resources, like the oil in the Middle East, mostly. As you can tell, most of our wars are based around acquiring more oil or resources in areas where There's a lot of competition for them. My idea is that we really need to focus on the energy problem and create energy at home. So I take most of that money from the defense budget and use it to subsidize solar panels on as many people's houses as possible. Maybe we create some kind of giant tax write-off, or maybe we even pay for half or as much as possible of the solar panels, depending on how much each family needs it, the economic need of the family. But there has to be a massive initiative to replace fossil fuels with alternative energies, specifically solar mostly, because I think solar is the best. It allows every homeowner to reap the benefits of the investment, because it's a long-term investment. It doesn't seem profitable now, but in the long run it can be. It'll create some kind of way for people who don't own their own property to own solar, have some kind of solar field where you gain a stake in your solar panels, and it offsets the cost of your electricity for the remainder of your lifetime. But ramping up alternative energy is going to be sort of the first step. That'll keep us from having so many issues in the Middle East and everywhere, really. It'll even potentially prevent World War III, so that might be a good idea. And yeah, cutting down the defense budget, that'll, we're not going to have nothing, but we'll also, so we're not going to have nothing, but it'll be significantly reduced. We're going to pretty much eliminate the nuclear stockpile. Maybe we might keep, 20 nukes around, but at most, probably be better to be nuclear free. That'll depend on agreements with other countries. So we got that. We're going to have to do some serious carbon emissions reductions. We've already made some reductions. We're going to have to come up with an international agreement to reduce carbon emissions. That's pretty important. We can export our technologies, help other countries try to, we can try to lead the way if we can, fund enough of our alternative energy sector, especially with what Tesla's doing with batteries. That'll be good. Electric cars, I think, are going to be part of it. See if we can get hydrogen powers cars to run on things other than natural gas, which requires fracking. We're going to try to limit fracking because it's wasting fresh water. We're going to cut all subsidies to fossil fuel companies. Those aren't necessary anymore. Let's see. We could even think about... we might have to nationalize the oil companies, because the oil companies, really, that profit needs to be funneled into alternative energies, because the energy problem really is a large one, and it's an emergency situation that needs to be taken care of. So nationalizing the oil companies is a distinct possibility. That's going to take some work. But we're going to have to do... we might have to fund wind just to some extent. It's going to be more based around solar, probably. There'll be some kind of agreement that people own all the energy they create. So if you own solar panels, no matter where they are, you will be fully reimbursed for the entire value of all the energy that you produce. No exceptions. Organic agriculture, we're going to have to stop the fossil fuel agribusiness method and go to large-scale organic farming. That can help the global warming problem while also providing higher quality of food. Let's see, what else is there to do here? We'll probably... We'll have to raise the tax rate on capital gains. Maybe any gains from the stock market. That tax rate's going to be raised significantly. We'll close any tax loopholes. No more none of these offshore accounts. None of that crap is done with. You will not be able to live in this country if you don't play by the rules. So I think that would be pretty much important. That'll help the deficit problem. Also, the reduction in defense spending will probably help the deficit problem. We will raise taxes on the wealthiest, in order to try to redistribute the wealth. Let's see. What else is part of my strategy here? High-speed rail system nationwide. We're really lagging behind Europe and even Japan. And I'd like to see about the feasibility of a maglev-style system, or maybe something like the Hyperloop. Try to get Tesla involved, or Elon Musk involved. He seems to have some pretty good ideas. He seems to be on the cutting edge of technology. I might even be willing to consider public-private partnership in that arena, though I generally don't like that. But definitely need some kind of major... we need to connect every major city to every other major city in a way that doesn't require the creation of freeways, which is incredibly inefficient from an energy perspective. The amount of fossil fuel energy that goes into creating freeways is ridiculous, and I don't think we can sustain it into the future. So we need to come up with new ways of transportation. Maybe we can come up with some personal transportation system from where the train system drops you off in the city to your private residence. But I think we're also going to have to work on moving more people into cities. Probably have to work on reducing our footprint in nature in general. Maybe we'll try to create more sort of futuristic agriculture involving growing in buildings, or growing in vertically instead of horizontally. Not horizontally. It doesn't exist. Let's see. What am I missing here? No, it's a lot to come up with a platform on in one shot. We'll try to do healthcare costs. There's going to have to be some kind of controls on the prices for drugs and for treatments. We're going to have to find a way to ensure that doctors don't prescribe treatments that aren't necessary, or prescribe or order tests and diagnostics with expensive machinery that isn't necessary. We need to make sure that things are these things are justified, and that basically we need to figure out a way to cut down healthcare costs, and that's mostly going to come from controlling prices for drugs, controlling prices for healthcare, and ensuring that we're not spending money wastefully in that arena. What else is there? I mean, every other issue is... we'll definitely have to work on sort of... definitely needs to be some kind of rule that enforces that somebody who owns a corporation doesn't make more than a certain percentage than the lowest paid employee. So we need more equity across the board, regardless of the job. I'm thinking, maybe top paid guy doesn't make more than, say, 10 times what the bottom paid guy makes. Even if it was 30 times, it'd be better than we have now. I believe it's something like 300 times now the top make. But that can't happen anymore. Everyone who works for a company needs to share equitably in its profits. I mean, not 100% equitably, because the people at the top just often have to work more than the people at the bottom, but things have gotten so out of scale that needs to be reined in. So there needs to be some kind of universal rule. The top most paid person cannot make so much more than the least paid. I'd like to institute some kind of a technological option for people to decide how they want their taxes to work in government. I'd like people to be able to vote, because people don't like paying taxes, but I think a lot of the reason why they don't like paying taxes is because they have no control over how the money's spent. They think it's being wasted, which it is a lot of the time. So I think we have to give people the mechanism to control the way their money is spent to a certain extent. I mean, things like the energy thing, that definitely needs to be a huge priority. So for those people who don't understand the risks. But I think, as with all the other rules kind of equalizing income over time, not equalizing it, but making it closer to being equal, that how how much taxes from which people will allow us to democratize the budget a little more. I'd like to see a slightly more democratized budget. I'd like to see people having a stronger say in legislation in general. Anytime a bill is up, I'd like to see people being able to offer their influence. I'd like to see the people influence the bill. So it'd definitely be a technological challenge. Obviously, we'd have to prevent against fraud and things like that, but I think it could be done. Maybe do it with American Idol and all those kinds of things. So we'll have something like that. It'd be like an initiative system on a federal level. Except not quite as... Oh, that's another thing. We need to... I'd pretty much say, there's... campaign finance reform. That was another big part of it. But pretty much all campaigns in the future need to be... there's no more huge contributions. Either we have the government pay for everything, or we pay for it in taxes, or something to that effect, but no more giant contributions. We have to reduce the ability of the wealthy to have outsized influence on who gets elected. So, and I think pretty much corporate lobbying by people with lots of money, that's basically got to be made illegal. We cannot allow legislators to benefit in their lives from voting a certain way on a bill. So pretty much, no more whining and dining, no more giant campaign contributions, and the revolving door. We need rules to strengthen or to prevent the revolving door from continuing to happen. Or much longer periods between times when people can work for the government and people can work, then turn around and work for private companies. Obviously, right now, there's very little oversight on that. You hear about people going into and out of business all the time, especially businesses in which they've recently ruled on or created legislation to favor that business. So that's pretty obvious right there. Let's see. I guess for now, that's about most of my platform. I've pretty much gone over the most key things. It's a very progressive platform. And I can tell you that all the things that I said are not what the wealthy and powerful people want to happen. This is what would be good for the average common man. We will address the main issues, and the biggest issues being energy production, climate change, which is becoming a problem. If you don't believe me, people think these IPCC, these scientists, are some kind of conspiracy group that are out to, fool people into giving them more research money or something like that. And believe me, the scientific research area is not the most lucrative. I don't think these people are being super manipulative. I think they just are concerned. If you ask any climate scientist, I'm sure they'll tell you they're seriously concerned. And they're not just saying it because they want grant money. They're saying it because we're at a serious level of threat here. If you stop listening to scientists, then what are you going to do? Stop believing that, in all the things that science has given us? How do you think we live our modern lifestyles? It's because of science that we have our modern lifestyles. If we're going to continue civilization, then we have to believe in what scientists say. So, when scientists are telling us that global warming is a problem, yes, this is a problem. We're seeing results of that. They've already told us there's irreversible shifts going on right now. We need to do something about carbon emissions worldwide, and we need an agreement as soon as possible. And this protest coming up in New York City will only underline that point. It'll be in September. But basically, those are the two main problems. All this other stuff, abortion and religious freedom and, LGBT and all these other side issues, gun control. These are not big issues right now. They want you to believe that these are the big issues. The big issues are energy, climate, and the budget, which is just totally out of whack. Oh, also, yeah, Homeland Security, that's going to be chopped very dramatically. We won't have as much of a need for Homeland Security once we get out of the Middle East. I'm going to be a non-interventionist here for the most part. I'm going to let the crazy shit that goes on in the world go on. There's not a lot we can do about it, realistically. But we're going to take care of things here at home, and number one is energy. That is the first most important thing. Because the energy picture, in case you're unaware, is dangerous right now. 95% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuels. Meanwhile, we are experiencing dramatic declines in the amount of oil that is easily pumped out of the ground. And the harder it is to pump oil out of the ground, the more expensive it becomes, and the harder it is for our economy to continue to function. So, that's got to be it. Once we get the energy part squared away, everything else follows. You can get the energy part squared away, we can get the climate part squared away. And then after that, it's, we can deal with the little issues, but priorities are priorities, and these are my priorities. So, that's my platform. Long and rambling, but at least I covered most of the things that really matter. So there you have it. Tim Lippert, 2016. Vote for me. It probably won't appear on the ballot. You're going to have to put me in as a write-in. Right now, the chances of this appear to be infinitesimally small, probably non-existent, but I want people to think about it. Because, you really want an average Joe. And you want an average Joe that's willing to get shot. And I am. I don't have a lot else to live for in life. I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to be famous. I just want to make the world a better place before I die. And chances are, if you elect me, I will die. So go ahead. Let this average schmuck get killed, and it'll at least prove a point. It'll prove the point that the wealthy only care about protecting themselves, and that's that. And once everyone realizes that, then maybe the revolution can start, and finally, some things will actually start getting done. But first, you got to prove to yourselves and to everyone in the world that it's all a sham. The way you do that is by electing good old Timmy L. So, get to it, folks. Tim Lippert, 2016. I'll see you from the Oval Office. Well, screw the Oval Office. I'm just gonna, I'll govern from the lawn. I'll go out amongst you people. No, I'll probably get shot faster that way. Well, anyway, yeah. So, very unpolished video here, but that tells you this is no BS. This is the straight talk, all right? None of this crazy dog and pony show, no smoke and mirrors. I am the real deal. And for the entire of my candidacy, this is as far as it's going to go. It's going to be real. So, yeah, and also, I got a decent sense of humor. Play a little music, and I won't necessarily subject you to the music, but I'm just saying I'm one of you guys. I'm an average Joe. So yeah, elect an average Joe. Watch me get shot, and let's really change the world in 2016. Do it.